Hey there, everybody. Welcome to this edition of NorCast Weather School. I'm your friendly neighborhood weatherman, NorEasterNick. Today, we're going to be talking all about thunderstorms. Now, chances are, if you're like me as a kid, you're absolutely terrified of them. But in reality, when you understand how something works, it becomes, well, less scary, and you might not have to hide anymore. It all starts with a warm parcel of air, just like this. It rises all the way up into the atmosphere, and it can become something big, or in some cases, gigantic. It's easy, especially in the spring and summer, to go from a day like this to a day like this. Let's take an average spring or summer day, for instance. Early in the morning, nothing is going on. We have crystal clear blue skies, we have the sun out there, and the rays are starting to beat down on the surface. Over a period of several hours, the surface starts to warm up, and the ground cannot retain all of that solar energy. And since warm air is less dense than cold air, and it's very buoyant, it starts to rise back up into the atmosphere. It cools and condenses and creates some clouds. This is the cumulus stage. This process is going to happen over and over again until the clouds build and get larger and taller and eventually fill up with moisture. Condensation leads to these droplets, and eventually, well, the cloud becomes so heavy with moisture that it begins to rain or precipitate. The storm is going to continue to grow into this cumulonimbus cloud, and this is at the end of the mature cycle. We will start to see heavy downpours and frequent lightning, some hail, and even an occasional tornado can't be ruled out. Every now and then we see the development of what we call severe thunderstorms, and these are storms that are capable of producing winds over 58 miles an hour. With a strong updraft, they grow high up into the atmosphere, into the stratosphere even, 50, 60,000 feet tall. That's taller than where jumbo jets travel. You get this classic anvil shape, and it is a very ominous looking storm. Eventually, that strong updraft will weaken, and you get very cold air to form in the middle section of the storm. Eventually, you're even going to get a huge blast of air out the bottom of the cloud, expanding in all directions. We call this a downburst, and it can result in some pretty serious damage. Downbursts can be particularly dangerous if you're in an airplane. Have you ever been flying and out of nowhere you lose altitude rapidly? It's happened to me, and I'll tell you, it is not fun. There are two different types of downbursts, micro and macro. A microburst will impact a small neighborhood, typically spanning about 2.5 miles, while a macro burst, on the other hand, well, those can expand to several miles and bring damage to entire towns. Now let's take a moment to identify thunderstorms developing on Doppler radar. Typically, in a moist environment, you see these storms developing and firing up, and they're scattered about the region. Every now and then, especially if a storm system is going to become a little bit stronger and more severe, you might get them to form in a more linear fashion. And ultimately, beyond that, we start to see the development of what we call a bow echo. The backside winds are stronger than the winds out ahead of it. And then it starts to really take that shape, and it looks like an arch. And in these situations, you can end up with very powerful straight line winds gusting to over 60 or 70 miles an hour, and that might prompt your National Weather Service office to issue a severe thunderstorm warning. There are thousands of thunderstorms that occur across the United States every single year. Not all of them become severe. It's important to keep your family, your friends, and yourself very safe, so always take the proper safety measures. Until next time, my friends, keep your eyes to the skies. Hey, thanks so much for watching this video. If you liked what you saw, subscribe to my channel by clicking this button right here. And if you want to learn another lesson from NorCast Weather School, click this video. You can also follow me on all social media platforms. It's at NorEasterNick.